about the season and about the tournament.
Well, first, we're excited to be here representing our university and our conference, and know that we have our work cut out for us with a great opponent. But we're thrilled to have the opportunity to be here.
Okay, we got a question in the middle, halfway back.
Luke McConnell with News9.com here in Oklahoma City. Micah, can you talk about your relationship with Edgar Maraku a little bit and just what that's meant to you over the years?
Yeah, he coached me. He coached my sister first, and I was in the gym, hitting the ball against the wall, and he would randomly ask me, like, hey, you want to play? I'm like, yeah, why not, So I've known him for a really long time. He played, so he had a lot of insight for me. Great guy. I see him as like a second dad. He's really matured my game at a young age and pushed me to be my best. And then I met that guy, and he did a lot for me. He was patient. He was he just pushed me to be a really good player and skill-wise. And I learned from him I couldn't be mean anymore. Like when I was 14, I was very impatient with other girls and trying to help them mature and not just kind of like isolate myself. And I think that was really important for me to learn early, and couldn't be more grateful.
Question on the outside lab.
Hey Coach, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman here in Oklahoma City. Micah wins MVP last year at Nationals when you guys went as a team, and now senior year, Oklahoma City. I mean, just all the pressure that I could imagine is on her. Have you sensed any of that? And is she uniquely qualified to maybe handle it where some people wouldn't be able to?
Well, I think what Mike is first and foremost is a really competitive young person. So I think she has the ability to separate the noise from the opportunity to really go out and compete and do the things she does well. I know she probably had some heavy burdens with thinking about trying to get this year's team back here from the leadership role that she had at the setting position. But being uniquely qualified, I don't know if anyone's ever really qualified to do something like that. I think you look at it in hindsight and say, how did they handle the various distractions? But to this point, I think she's doing great.
We got a question on the inside lab.
Lee Feinswald from Volleyball Magazine. Neil, what do you draw from the match you played at Stanford? And you got to figure inevitably you might see them again.
Right. I think that when we went there, we learned that they came ready to play. We just have to stay consistent and worry about everything going on our side, and that's all that we can control at the end of the day.
Brought the same question.
Well, I wasn't discouraged when we went there, based on the fact that we had graduated 10 years of All-American in the 3 players that graduated. So. My concern going into the match was the sort of damage that Stanford could have done to us that could have impacted our psyche for the balance of the season. But I thought we competed really well. The match was a good match. And what impact does that do from then to now? 2 separate teams. Our lineup is significantly different. If you watch them play, if you were to compare how they played earlier to now, they're playing with great confidence. They had the best winning percentage in the country this year. They're really fast. They're strong at every position. It's probably been a long time since we came in as an underdog at a Final Four, but that's someone has to. And we're going to do our best to compete as well as we can come tomorrow.
We got a question in the middle, and we'll come to the front.
Micah, kind of going along with my first question, something Edgar said when I talked to him this week was that you desired to be challenged and that he needed to challenge you consistently. Was that something that needed to be challenged, something that came along as you kind of understood your talent, or is that something that you've kind of had all throughout your life?
Yeah, there were times I had a couple coaches and they kind of let me do what I wanted, and it wasn't as challenging as I wanted it to be because I wanted to get better in the gym. Otherwise, I feel like I'm wasting my time. So I think having Edgar as a coach and showing what he showed me was something I looked for after high school, and that's kind of where I found what I found here. So, you know, having that challenge and knowing that you can always do better is something that I look to find.
Question on the front left.
Jack Hammond with Volleyball Magazine. Coach, Stanford was not invincible. They lost before a really big crowd up in Seattle to Washington. What did you learn from that match about Stanford and how they can be beaten?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I thought, you know, I voted Stanford #1 every poll throughout the whole season. So the loss to Washington, for those of us that have lost at Washington, it's an indication that Washington's very good, and you know, we knew that having played them last year in the NCAA finals, final weekend. So you know, what do you learn from a team when they lose and come back and win the rest of their matches? Is that, you know, it's one bump along the way. Again, you know, they've got the top winning percentage in the country. So I think that, you know, the bigger question is, what did they learn and how did they handle it? I'm an outsider, I don't really know. I just think they're playing a lot better than they played earlier. You know, when we played them earlier, you know, Lutz was just coming back from an injury that she must have occurred in the first or second weekend of the year, and so she wasn't playing a full-time role. But you know, right now they're getting mad numbers out of the middle. But I think, you know, losing at Washington maybe prepares them for situations like that. John would be far better prepared to talk about it. You know, I know how it is to play Washington with a huge partisan crowd, and it's a real challenge. And you know, I just think, you know, in my mind, those were the top two teams throughout the season. So that was a match, it was the last match of the Pac-12 schedule. So you had all year for everybody to get excited about the prospects of how that's going to be. So, but you know, they didn't have much turnaround time, because as soon as it was over, they won 4 matches as the other 3 teams that are here this weekend.
Question about halfway back.
Russ, do you like competing against John? And could you talk about some of the history? Because you guys have had an inordinate amount of epic matches going back to Pacific and through Stanford.
I mean, I like John. I mean, we're good friends. You know, you never like the downside of beating one of your friends, but you also hold your head high when you know it's a great match. And you know, I had the same relationship with Don Shaw, who preceded John at Stanford. So, you know, I mean, we had a really long streak. I don't remember the number of it, but it started when we lost to Stanford, and it went for a few years, and then it ended when we lost to Stanford again. And as I told him then, you know, there was no person or program that if I was going to lose, that's the team that was comfortable with that happening. So, you know, we've had some great matches, and you know, it's not personal. If we go on the golf course and he beats me by 10 or 15 strokes, that'd be more personal, but I'm smart enough to know I get the 10 or 15 up front.
Could you have possibly come up with a better way to end your career, provided, of course, you win the next 2 games?
Yeah, you know, when I found out it was here, I was kind of like, no way, you know, it's my senior year, nothing more to get back here and have the chance to compete for a championship. But yeah, it's a lot of distractions. I've had a lot of questions about that, and you know, it's one game at a time for me and my team. See what we can do.